This is Simon Robinson reporting for Time.com from New Delhi, India. Taking trains in India is one of the best ways to learn about the country, but at the same time can be frustrating and painfully slow. Until recently, the government-owned and operated Indian railways had the reputation for being extremely inefficient and requiring constant financial bailouts. That's now changing. Last financial year, Indian Railways made more than $5 billion. It might still get funding from the government, but Indian Railways is now the country's second most profitable state-owned company. The turnaround began when rail officials decided to concentrate on three concepts: faster, heavier, and longer. The turnaround time between the end and beginning of each new trip is now much shorter. In 2001, the average time to unload, repair, refuel, and reload a freight train in India was a mind-boggling 7.1 days. Now it's just 5 days. More train trips means more profit. Freight trains now carry a lot more stuff as well, mostly because Indian Railways has approved much heavier loads. That brings in an extra $1.5 billion a year. And finally, the actual length of a passenger train has been made a lot longer. Up until a few years ago, a typical passenger train was about 15 carriages, and waiting lists for rail travel were long and exasperating. Indian Railways now try to run passenger services with 24 carriages, which means shorter lines, more passengers, and more revenue. With all this new money, services are beginning to improve. In 2006, they introduced the first of a new generation of express trains on certain routes, such as the popular tourist run between Delhi and Agra, home of the Taj Mahal. These new trains travel at up to 90 miles an hour, or about 150 kilometers an hour, which, believe me, is express for India. You sit in comfortable seats on a trip that takes just on 2 hours instead of almost 3. Waiters offer you tea and cornflakes with hot milk, and you can also book online, which is another recent change. Over the next 5 years, Indian Railways wants to borrow at least $15 billion to build new infrastructure, including a dedicated fast freight corridor between Mumbai, Delhi, and Kolkata. Rail bosses also want to overhaul stations in most of India's big cities and build hotels, restaurants, and offer things like wireless internet. But there's still a long way to go. Before Christmas, I took a 1,378-mile, that's around 2,200-kilometer trip, from Delhi to Goa. In Europe or North America, that would take something like 12 or 15 hours. My trip took me 35 hours. Older carriages can still be dirty, shabby, and full of cockroaches, and that's in upper class. But there's no doubt that the trains in India are improving, and there's still no better way to see the country, even if it takes a little time.